fact, a spring not unlike this one. We had periods where it was extremely windy, and there was days full of showers in the sort of form of cloud bursts. So you'd have rain for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then it would stop and you'd have really brilliant sunshine. And that was a precursor to a very, very hot summer, in fact. I didn't waste my time between going for the blood tests and getting the results. I remember going with my friend Martin to have the blood tests, and I'm not quite sure where we went, because I'm pretty sure it wasn't the hospital. It was not very far from the off-site campus, and we sort of nipped over there and we had the blood tests, and then I think it was possibly the day after I went on my own to the eye clinic, because one of the things that Bradford University had, quite interestingly in fact, was a working music centre, a working theatre, a working opticians, you know, all on site. I'm not sure, well, it certainly didn't teach musical drama. I'm guessing it didn't teach optometry either. So why it had them, why it had those resources, I'm not really sure. I know that the optometry place was close to the Lister Hill Science Park, so maybe that was sort of what it was. And I'd gone there because my worry was that it was, I was worried about two of the symptoms, because they were becoming worse. I felt they were becoming worse. One of them was the chronic dizziness, which there wasn't really much I could do. And the other one was the visual distortions, and so I thought, well, perhaps I should go to an optometrist and see, you know, what they had to say about it. And I never completed the eye test. I got halfway through the eye test, and they do various different tests, but one of them was to try and find out, you know, what my how my focus was. And, you know, I just didn't need to be looking through lenses that weren't quite in focus, and, you know, is this one better, is this one better? And I was actually ill, right there in the middle of the in the middle of the test, and this poor woman, I think she was a trainee, I don't even think she was a real one, she didn't know what to do, so she left the room and this other guy came in, and he took me back. In fact, he walked me back to the back to the halls, and he said that any time I wanted to finish my my eye test I could, but I never went back. I couldn't. It was so embarrassing. So I didn't just waste my time. The results came back within the week, and they showed that there was absolutely nothing wrong with me. And this upset me, because obviously I thought, well, obviously there is something wrong with me, because otherwise I wouldn't be feeling like this, would I? And this is where you got some people beginning to think that it wasn't real, or, you know, I was sort of making it up or whatever, which upset me greatly, as you might imagine. And so they started me on a beta blocker. It was called propranolol, in fact, and it's basically, you know, I can't remember which is which, because I was on 2 different drugs, and one of them was a sort of antipsychotic which was supposed to help with anxiety, and the other one was a sort of was one that was used to treat sickness by trying to sort of suppress the nervous system. I can't remember which one was which. But the beta blockers, the propranolol, which I was prescribed by the doctor at the health centre following that, because I said, look, there is definitely something wrong, and sort of pretty much forced him to give me something for it. You know, it didn't work, and I stopped taking it. Gosh, I only took one set of it. And then I remember going home just for the weekend, and do you know, it was one of the worst parts of that illness that I can remember. And you've probably seen in films where, you know, somebody is out of it, has been drugged with an hallucinogenic drug or whatever, and the whole world seems to be sort of spinning and it's flashing colours. And as I was walking through Harrogate with my family, the ground was like after you've walked across sort of concrete that's had water on it and it's all reflective. Well, it was like that, except it was sort of jumping out at me. And it's the only time in my entire life that we've been to an out-of-hours doctor, and he was very good. He prescribed me prochlorperazine, and that took the edge off slightly. I won't say it worked. It appeared to work at that point in time. It certainly helped sort of slightly reduce the symptoms. And that's really where we are, you know, chronologically now. So if we zip forward 10 years to this last week, I can tell you that my neuralgia appointment to sort out my my current health issue is going to take place on Wednesday. This is also the last chance that you have to sponsor me for the Nidderdale Walk. It's the last Nidderdale Walk this year. We've been doing it 3 years. This is the 22-mile walk we're doing now. And you can make a one-off donation to help the heroes if you are a national or international friend, using the linky-do that's in the opening credits. If you are local, get in touch with me and sign a sponsorship form, and we'll do it that way, because that way it's sort of far more easy. I haven't been promoting it quite so much this year because I've just not had time. I've been so stressed with the neuralgia and stuff that I just haven't had the strength to sort of bother with it. But it's not too late. I've also had thought about a few things, and I have made some decisions. The first decision is about changes to my UFC prediction videos. Do you know, I'm pleased that the UFC say that they are going to try and get some more events in this country the same day each year, because that would help. I'm also pleased that they're trying to get a channel uploaded from August that we can see. It's not really quite as well known as it could be, but it's reasonable, and I will look into that and see. What I'm not really interested in is getting a channel with it on, unless it's going to be enable me to watch the actual events. So I'll have to see how that goes. In terms of the UFC prediction videos, I'm scrapping recaps altogether outside of abnormal circumstances. I am scrapping the introductions as well, the musical introductions, because nobody cares and they take quite a lot of time and effort to do, so I'm not going to bother with that. And I'm going to announce the Fighter of the Card Award for the previous event in the next event's prediction video, if that makes sense. If not, you'll understand when it starts happening. So that's what I'm going to do from here on with that. I've also made some changes to the Golden Bowl. I'm allocating £40 spend a month if I can keep to budget during the month, and most of that can be spent on whatever I want. But I'm going to select 4 dates in the year for that to go to specific things. For example, one of it will be spent on clothes, because it's probably the only time I'll be able to buy clothes. Another one might be dedicated to Christmas, and one of them from next year is certainly going to be dedicated to the plantation, because this year hasn't worked out very well with space, with the amount of mess created with trying to grow from seed indoors. It's just not working. So from next year I shall be growing from plants, which means I can start a little later and avoid the stupidity of the cold that's going on for far too long, and I can spend £40, set it all up, and that, you know, it's contained, it's much better. So that's what we're going to do with that. This summer I'm still hoping to sort out the vestibule, but that will be later on in the summer. And in terms of the windows, you know, we're not doing the double glazing anymore, but what we are going to try and do is use some wood filler to patch up some of the areas that need doing urgently, and hopefully that will hold it for a little while, for a couple of years. The only other thing to say is that we have a baby bird in the aviary. We had 2 born last week. One to Flo and Lammas, who is now 12 days old, doing very well, eyes open, feathers growing, probably going to make it now, so I shall have to think of a name in time for next week's vlog. The other one was born to Beverly, and due to some abnormal things with birds pulling nesting out of nesting boxes that they shouldn't be anywhere near, the poor little mite, on day 2 or 3, was sort of hanging out of the nest, and he wasn't able to be incubated properly, and he died because he failed to be incubated. But that wasn't the fault of the mother. You know, it's an unfortunate thing. I called that poor little mite Eve, so Eve joins Susu as being 2 little infants that have died this year, since the start of the Pole House of Birds. But hopefully the one that we've got at the moment will be the first one to make it to maturity, and the first finch that I've raised in, gosh, about 2 years now. So let's see what happens with that, and hopefully all manner of things will be well.